Robert Horton, best known as Flint McCullough on the legendary Western series Wagon Train, was a Hollywood star with a hidden life few truly knew about. While he captivated audiences with his rugged charm, striking looks, and undeniable talent, his off-screen reality was far more complex. Behind the fame were personal struggles, failed marriages, and career challenges that shaped his journey. From his rise to stardom to the hidden truths behind his Hollywood persona, this is the untold story of Robert Horton, the man behind Flint McCullough and the secrets of his Wagon Train years. Meade Howard Robert Horton Jr. was born on July 29, 1924, in Los Angeles, California, as one of two sons of Meade Howard Horton Sr. and Chelta McMurrin. From an early age, he grew up in a strict Latter-day Saint household, but he often felt like he didn't quite fit into the disciplined structure of his family's faith. Horton later admitted that he had a rebellious streak and was more impulsive than what was expected in his home. Despite these differences, his upbringing instilled in him a strong work ethic and a determination that would serve him well later in life. His childhood, however, was far from easy. He suffered from several serious health issues, including a hernia and an enlarged kidney, both of which required surgery at a young age. These medical challenges could have held him back, but Horton was determined not to let them define him. He remained active and athletic, attending the California Military Institute in Paris, where he developed a love for sports and played football. The rigorous discipline at the school also helped him build the resilience and toughness that would later become part of his on-screen persona. After graduating in 1943 at the age of 19, Horton set his sights on serving his country during World War II. He enlisted in the United States Coast Guard, eager to contribute to the war effort. However, his military career was unexpectedly cut short when his kidney condition led to a medical discharge. It was a devastating setback, as he had been ready to serve, but it forced him to reconsider his future. Then in 1945, an event took place that would change his life forever. A chance encounter with a talent scout led to an uncredited role in A Walk in the Sun, a wartime film directed by Louis Milestone. Though his part was small, it was enough to spark an interest in acting. Inspired by this experience, Horton decided to pursue a career in entertainment, initially enrolling at the University of Miami to study drama. However, he later transferred to UCLA, where he dedicated himself to his studies and graduated cum laude. His academic achievements proved that he wasn't just another aspiring actor. He was determined to refine his craft and set the foundation for what would become an impressive career in Hollywood. Horton's stage career took off when he worked with the American Theater Wing in New York City, where he was named the resident leading man. This role allowed him to develop his craft in front of live audiences, refining the presence and voice that would later define his screen persona. His performances on stage did not go unnoticed, and before long Hollywood came calling. MGM Studios offered him a contract, giving him the opportunity to transition from the stage to the silver screen. While under contract with MGM, Horton appeared in numerous films, often in supporting roles. Though he hadn't yet reached stardom, these early film appearances provided him with valuable on-camera experience. He became known for his rugged good looks, strong screen presence, and distinctive voice, all of which would later become his trademarks. However, it wasn't until he ventured into television that he truly found his breakthrough moment. On December 16, 1954, Horton landed his first major television role in the anthology series Ford Theater, appearing in an episode titled Portrait of Lydia. This performance marked the beginning of what would become a long and successful career in television. Although he continued to work in films, it was the small screen that would make him a household name. Horton became widely recognized for his deep, commanding voice, which set him apart from other actors of his time. However, it was his role as frontier scout Flint McCullough in the hit NBC Western Wagon Train that solidified his place in television history. Premiering in 1957, Wagon Train quickly became one of the most popular shows of the era, following a group of pioneers as they made their way westward across the American frontier. Horton's portrayal of McCullough, a brave, resourceful scout, resonated with audiences, earning him widespread recognition. For 5 years, Horton starred alongside a talented ensemble cast that included Ward Bond, John McIntyre, Terry Wilson, and Frank McGrath. His character was integral to the show's success, as McCullough was often the one leading the wagon train through dangerous territory, encountering outlaws, Native American tribes, and harsh landscapes along the way. The role allowed Horton to showcase both his acting talent and his physicality, as the series featured plenty of action-packed scenes, including horseback chases, shootouts, and daring rescues. Despite the show's immense popularity and his rising star status, Horton made a surprising decision. He chose to leave Wagon Train at the height of its success. His reason? He wanted to pursue his passion for musical theater, a move that shocked both fans and industry insiders. Leaving behind a successful television career was a major risk, but Horton was determined to follow his artistic instincts. Following his departure, Wagon Train brought in actor Robert Fuller to take his place, casting him as a new scout named Cooper Smith. Fuller, already known for his work on the Western series Laramie, bore a noticeable resemblance to Horton, which made the transition easier for audiences. Interestingly, the two actors shared the same birthday, though Fuller was 9 years younger. With its new cast member, Wagon Train continued to enjoy success, but Horton had set his sights on an entirely different path. His decision to leave the show and pursue a career in musical theater was a bold one, and while it meant stepping away from the role that had made him famous, it also opened the door to new opportunities. After leaving Wagon Train, Robert Horton continued to expand his television career, taking on a variety of roles that showcased his versatility as an actor. In 1955, he was cast as Drake McHugh in the television adaptation of Kings Row, a role originally played by Ronald Reagan in the 1942 film. The series was part of Warner Brothers' Presents, a rotating anthology that included a television version of Casablanca and the Western series Cheyenne, starring Clint Walker. Although Kings Row only lasted for 7 episodes, it provided Horton with another opportunity to establish himself as a leading man in television drama. Throughout his career, which spanned from 1951 to 1989, Horton became a familiar face in Hollywood, appearing in numerous films and television series. One of his early film roles was a small part in Bright Road, 1953, a groundbreaking film that starred Dorothy Dandridge and was one of the first major studio productions to feature a black female lead. He also made guest appearances in several popular television programs, including Meet Mr. McNutley, a sitcom starring Ray Milland, and Sheriff of Cochise, a crime drama centered around law enforcement in the Arizona desert. His ability to adapt to different genres made him a sought-after guest star in both drama and comedy. In 1956, Horton played Corporal Tom Vaughn in False Prophet, an episode of the religious-themed anthology series Crossroads, which dramatized true stories of faith and moral dilemmas. His work on Crossroads demonstrated his range beyond Westerns, as the series often explored contemporary social and ethical issues. One of Horton's most memorable television roles came through his multiple appearances on Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Over the course of the series, he appeared in 7 episodes, each time delivering a compelling performance. Perhaps his most notable role was in The Disappearing Trick, where he played a charismatic but devious insurance investigator and blackmailer, opposite Betsy von Furstenberg. Directed by Arthur Hiller, the episode was a standout among the show's suspenseful tales and showcased Horton's ability to portray complex, morally ambiguous characters. Beyond crime and mystery dramas, Horton also made a name for himself in other television genres. He starred in The DuPont Show with June Allison, playing Danny Barnes in the episode No Place to Hide, further proving his ability to take on emotionally driven roles. His presence on television wasn't limited to dramatic performances. He also made multiple appearances on celebrity interview programs, including Here's Hollywood, where he shared insights into his life and career with audiences. Additionally, he was a guest on The Barbara Stanwyck Show, an anthology series that featured the legendary actress in a variety of roles, further cementing his place among Hollywood's elite. Horton's popularity extended beyond acting, as he was also a frequent guest on The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford, a variety program that blended music, comedy, and celebrity interviews. His appearances on the show introduced him to a broader audience, allowing fans to see a different side of the rugged Western star. Throughout the 1950s and beyond, Horton maintained a steady career, working across multiple genres while preserving his signature charm and screen presence. Whether in westerns, crime dramas, or suspenseful thrillers, he remained a reliable and respected actor, continuously finding ways to reinvent himself in an ever-changing entertainment landscape. In the 1960s, Robert Horton expanded his career beyond acting, venturing into music with several recordings under Columbia Records. He released 2 45 RPM singles, The Very Thought of You, backed with Hey There, and King of the Road, paired with Julie. His rendition of The Very Thought of You was also featured as the title track of an album released by the same label. While Horton was primarily known for his work in westerns, his smooth baritone voice allowed him to transition naturally into singing, adding yet another dimension to his already impressive career. His foray into music was well received, as audiences were drawn to his charismatic stage presence and vocal abilities, proving that he was more than just a rugged cowboy. His passion for performing extended beyond the recording studio, as he spent years entertaining audiences in theaters and nightclubs across the United States and Australia. Horton's live performances became a significant part of his career, and he often performed alongside his wife, Marilyn Bradley, turning their shows into a family affair. His dedication to the stage culminated in 1963, when legendary Broadway producer David Merrick cast him as the male lead in 110 in the Shade, a musical adaptation of N. Richard Nash's play, The Rainmaker. With music by Tom Jones and Harvey Schmidt, the show was a major Broadway production, running for an impressive 330 performances. Taking on the role of Starbuck, the charismatic con man who convinces a drought-stricken town that he can bring rain, Horton brought depth and energy to the character, proving that he was just as commanding on the stage as he was on screen. The experience solidified his love for musical theater, showing a different side of his artistry to fans who had previously only seen him in dramatic roles. Even as he pursued theater and music, Horton remained a force in television. From 1965 to 1966, he starred in A Man Called Shenandoah, a unique Western drama that set itself apart from the genre's usual formula. Instead of following the traditional cowboy hero, the series introduced audiences to a man suffering from amnesia, wandering the frontier in search of his true identity. This serialized storytelling approach was rare for the time, making A Man Called Shenandoah a bold experiment in television. Though the show lasted only one season, it gained a dedicated following, and Horton's performance as the mysterious lead character was praised for its emotional depth and complexity. In 1966, Horton took on yet another groundbreaking project with The Dangerous Days of Kiowa Jones. Produced by MGM, it was the first Western made specifically for television while also receiving a theatrical release in European cinemas. Co-starring Sal Mineo and Diane Baker, the film told the story of a drifter who is unexpectedly deputized and tasked with escorting dangerous outlaws to justice. Unlike the traditional Western heroes he had played before, Horton's character was an ordinary man thrust into an extraordinary situation, making for a compelling and more modern take on the genre. The film's hybrid release strategy demonstrated how television westerns were evolving, merging the grand storytelling of cinema with the accessibility of television. In 1968, Robert Horton took an unexpected detour from his usual Western and dramatic roles, venturing into the world of science fiction with The Green Slime. This low-budget Japanese-American production, directed by Kinji Fukasaku, was filmed entirely in Japan, but featured a cast of American and European actors. Unlike the rugged cowboys and noble adventurers he had previously portrayed, Horton took on the role of Jack Rankin, a no-nonsense astronaut tasked with leading a space station crew in a desperate battle for survival. The threat? Swarms of one-eyed, tentacled alien creatures that multiply at an alarming rate, feeding off the station's electrical power and growing stronger with every surge of energy. Despite its ambitious premise, The Green Slime was more of a cult oddity than a mainstream hit. The film's over-the-top special effects, rubbery alien costumes, and dramatic action sequences made it a prime example of 1960s B-movie sci-fi, earning it both ridicule and admiration from fans of the genre. Although it wasn't a critical success, it later gained a devoted following, particularly among enthusiasts of vintage science fiction. For Horton, the film demonstrated his willingness to step outside his comfort zone and explore different genres, proving that he was not afraid to take risks with his career. Even in a movie filled with campy effects and exaggerated performances, his presence gave the film a sense of credibility that helped anchor the otherwise outlandish storyline. As his career evolved, Horton continued to take on new challenges, including a surprising turn in daytime television. From 1983 to 1984, he joined the cast of As the World Turns, one of the longest-running soap operas in television history. He played Whit McCall, a role that required a different kind of storytelling than he had been used to. Unlike the action-packed westerns and adventure series that had defined much of his career, soap operas focused on deeply emotional, character-driven narratives filled with complex relationships, betrayals, and long-running dramatic arcs. Robert Horton's personal life saw its share of ups and downs before he found lasting happiness. His first marriage to Mary Jobe lasted from 1946 to 1950 but ended in divorce. Though little is publicly known about their relationship, it was the first of Horton's attempts at finding a lasting partnership. His second marriage to actress and singer Barbara Ruick began in 1953. Ruick, known for her work in musicals such as Carousel, was a rising star in Hollywood, but despite their shared connection to show business, their union was short-lived, ending in 1956. Both of Horton's early marriages reflected the challenges of maintaining personal relationships under the pressures of a demanding career. Despite these setbacks in love, Horton finally found stability when he married Marilyn Bradley in 1960. Unlike his previous marriages, this one endured, lasting over 5 decades. Their relationship stood the test of time, remaining strong until his passing in 2016. Bradley, who was not an actress, provided Horton with the grounding and support he had previously lacked. She often accompanied him on his travels and performances, especially when he ventured into musical theater. While many Hollywood marriages crumbled under the pressures of fame, Horton and Bradley's bond remained unshakable, proving to be one of the most enduring aspects of his life. As he grew older, Horton gradually stepped away from the spotlight. By the early 2000s, he had significantly reduced his public appearances, focusing instead on enjoying life away from Hollywood's demands. In 2009, after celebrating his 85th birthday, he made it official, announcing through his publicist that he would no longer attend events or make personal appearances. The years of traveling, performing, and engaging with fans had taken their toll, and he chose to spend his later years in peaceful retirement with his wife. Outside of acting, Horton had a deep passion for aviation. He was a licensed pilot and owned his own aircraft, taking great joy in flying. For him, piloting a plane represented the ultimate sense of freedom, a stark contrast to the structured world of film and television. He often spoke about his 3 greatest thrills in life: completing his first solo flight, performing before Queen Elizabeth II, and being honored on This Is Your Life, a popular television program hosted by Ralph Edwards that celebrated notable public figures. Interestingly, his love for flying was not a solo adventure. His frequent co-pilot was his beloved French poodle, Jamie. The small dog often accompanied him on flights, a quirky but endearing detail that reflected Horton's playful side. In addition to his love of the skies, Horton also had an interest in politics. Initially a Republican, he was an active supporter of Dwight Eisenhower's presidential campaign in 1952, aligning himself with the general's vision for the country. However, as time went on, Horton largely distanced himself from political controversies, choosing instead to focus on his career and personal passions. Unlike many of his Hollywood peers, who became outspoken on political matters, he preferred to keep his views private. In November 2015, Robert Horton suffered a serious fall, an accident that would mark the beginning of his final decline. Though he had always been known for his strength and resilience, both on screen and in real life, his health had been gradually deteriorating in his later years. The injury from the fall severely impacted his mobility and overall well-being, forcing him into hospice care, where he received constant medical attention. Surrounded by loved ones, he faced this chapter of his life with the quiet dignity that had defined him for decades. Despite his adventurous spirit and the vitality that had once made him a leading man in Hollywood, time had taken its toll. His body, which had carried him through the physically demanding roles of frontier scouts, rugged cowboys, and daring adventurers, could no longer keep up. After spending several months in hospice care, Horton passed away on March 9, 2016, at the age of 91 in a Los Angeles rehabilitation clinic. News of his passing was met with heartfelt tributes from fans, colleagues. From his unforgettable role as Flint McCullough in Wagon Train to his bold forays into musical theater and even science fiction, Horton had carved out a diverse and lasting career. Throughout his long and distinguished career, Robert Horton was honored not only for his contributions to television, but also for his profound impact on the Western genre. His ability to portray strong, charismatic, and morally upright characters resonated deeply with audiences, cementing his status as one of Hollywood's most beloved cowboy stars. His dedication to the genre and his lasting influence on Western storytelling earned him several prestigious Lifetime Achievement Awards, each serving as a tribute to his enduring legacy. One of the most significant honors he received was the Golden Boot Award in 2004. This award, presented to actors who made outstanding contributions to Western film and television, placed Horton among the great cowboy legends of Hollywood. The Golden Boot recognized not just his success in Wagon Train, but also his extensive work in Westerns throughout his career. From television to film, Horton's portrayals of rugged frontier scouts and noble cowboys helped keep the Western genre alive during its golden age. By receiving this distinction, he joined the ranks of legendary actors such as John Wayne, James Stewart, and Clint Eastwood, proving that his work had left an undeniable mark on the industry. In addition to the Golden Boot, Horton was celebrated at the National Festival of the West, where he was awarded the Cowboy Spirit Award. This particular honor was not just about his performances on screen, but also about the qualities he embodied: resilience, courage, and a deep respect for the American West. Horton's commitment to authenticity in his roles, whether as a wagon train scout or a lone drifter searching for his identity, showcased the very essence of what made Western heroes so compelling. His ability to bring these characters to life with such depth and sincerity was one of the many reasons he remained a respected figure in the genre long after he retired from Hollywood. As a final tribute to his remarkable career, Horton was presented with the Western Legend Award on his 90th birthday. This was a particularly special honor, as it recognized not only his body of work, but also his lasting influence on the Western genre as a whole. It was a moment of reflection, celebrating a lifetime dedicated to bringing frontier stories to audiences around the world. Though Horton had stepped away from Hollywood in his later years, the industry never forgot his contributions. The Western Legend Award served as a testament to the impact he had made, ensuring that his name would forever be associated with the golden era of Westerns. These awards were more than just accolades. They were symbols of a legacy that stretched across decades. Horton's work had shaped the landscape of television and film, leaving behind a rich history of storytelling that continued to inspire new generations of Western enthusiasts. Even after his passing, the recognition he received ensured that his contributions would never be forgotten, solidifying his place among the greatest Western stars of all time. Robert Horton lived a life filled with Hollywood success, personal struggles, and untold secrets. While fans remember him as the fearless Flint McCullough, his real-life journey was marked by hidden battles and a career that took unexpected turns. Even after his passing in 2016, his legacy remains through his work in film, television, and music. But beyond the screen, he was a man with a story far deeper than the cowboy he portrayed. What do you think was Robert Horton's greatest role? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.